There's an odd familiarity about where we are right now. And it's not because we're in Dallas, Texas. It's because we're starting a brand new wall. Get in the Wayback Machine. Look at that very first one that very first video we ever did with me and Matt Lawhorn sitting across from each other and how little was on that wall. We're starting that down here in Dallas. On this episode, I talked with Kurt Chase, the VP of everything Dallas related, about how, why, where, and what's coming up for Atlas MedStaff in Dallas, Texas. Atlas All Access starts now. Kurt, I would say welcome, but you and your whole staff have been super welcoming to all of us since we came down here a couple of days ago, and I leave tomorrow. But I wanted to commend you on what an amazing place you've created here. Like it feels like Atlas, it feels like Omaha, it feels like Atlas. You've done an unbelievable job down here.
Awesome, bro. And I appreciate you and your team coming down. To me, I think this was the first real goal, is to get you guys down here. I feel that once you decided and made that commitment, I felt that, at least in my brain, that was telling me that, okay, we've risen to that point that we're an entity now. We're serious. We're not that we made it, right, but we made our mark.
You always were before, though. Like this has been like a 3-year project, right?
Yeah.
Take me back. Walk me through kind of just how this went. Walk everybody through how this went. 3 years ago, we said, "Hey, Kurt, guess what? We're going to open this office in Dallas." And you're like, "I go do that." What happened with that?
Okay, I know everybody doesn't understand the full story, but I loaded the truck up. I took those chairs, right?
Yeah,
the conference room chairs.
The white conference room chairs, yeah.
My truck took a dump. 11th hour, Mike Combs allowed me to take his truck.
His Ford Ranger.
His Toyota Tacoma.
That's right.
So I take off, and it's that snowstorm. So I drove from Omaha to Dallas, literally all the way to OKC in a snowstorm, right? That should have been an omen, right? So you get
pre-pandemic, 2019, right?
This was at the end of 2019.
Yeah.
This was January 2020.
Yeah.
So we get here, we set up, and we're in the Regis office. So for folks that don't realize what a Regis office is, all you have to do is just come, set up, and they provide all the furniture and everything else. So didn't really know the landscape at the time. So that was probably the safest at the time. But we were going to hit Regis 1 year and then find out where we wanted to be, right?
Yep.
That's January 2020, March 2020, pandemic. So I hire 4 people, or 3 people, all, January, February, March. We're on our way. Gotta go home.
Brand new, no industry experience at all.
No industry experience.
We'll get to them a little bit too, because we went and talked to them separate from this about that. But so yeah, no industry experience whatsoever. You got you and 3 recruiters, right? And then pandemic hits.
Pandemic hit. So in that sense, all the uncertainty that surrounded the pandemic, right? We didn't know what was going on. As our industry is, when there's a crisis, everything kind of stops, right?
Well,
so,
the world stopped.
Yeah. Well, we were extreme case this time.
Yeah.
But our industry just stops.
Yeah.
It stops to gauge, right? That's what we do. That's how it works.
Right.
So we knew that, but just with the uncertainty and for the extended amount of time that was involved, nobody knew. So these 3 people, and subsequently 1 left, so I was down to 2. But those 2 people, Jenna and Elise, we sent them home. No plan, no nothing.
Fresh out of college.
And really all they had was just me saying it's going to be okay when I didn't know it was going to be okay, right?
None of us knew.
Nobody knew.
No.
So that lasted all of 2020, going into 2021. And things kind of started to subside a little bit, but it was still a lot of uncertainty going on. But what came due was our rent
Mm-hmm.
in this office in our lease.
In the Regis office.
In the Regis office.
Yeah, in the temporary space.
So still not, actually that came up in December. So not really having a plan, not knowing what we're going to do with the pandemic. Ryan gave me this budget. Not sure we're going to keep the office, not keep the office.
Right.
Well, okay, just go find something else, but you can only spend this much.
Right. Well, insider information we didn't even know. Like,
Right.
one, there was no indication that pandemic was going to end anytime soon. Two, the hiring was so just on and off. It was so hard to plan a quarter or a month in advance.
Right.
So we had no idea. All we knew is we had to get out of the Regis space.
We had to get out of the Regis space.
Right.
What?
And we still believed in what we had down. We believed in
Absolutely.
you and what we had started.
We just needed an opportunity. I felt.
Yes.
What you guys tasked me to do at that point in time is come back down, reassess. As you can imagine, there was a lot of space to be had. It was just like, is that a good move or bad move?
Right.
So, luckily I found another place that was more of your traditional office, where we had the ability to set some things up and do some things without going into a long-term deal. So that was for a 2-year lease. But still, the budget that Steve Ryan put together for me, I was well under that budget. So we have been operating out of that for the last year and a half.
Right.
The pandemic kind of subsides, or the world gets used to it. Things start to kind of revert back to what it was prior to.
Sure.
Obviously it's still here, and that's something that we still have to account for. But as far as that office really served us well, and I think, and it was a small office by the way, but I think the close proximity of that office, as far as the space, as we started to get more people, it really brought us closer together. And I think that was absolutely, in hindsight, a beneficial thing.
Well, so Jenna and Elise were still with us, right? I mean, and they still are to this day, obviously.
Yeah.
They're very good recruiters for us to this day, but they were with you in that office. But then you had some great hires along the way. Trevor Romine and Caleb Cox, and like really good recruiters in their own right. But you're right, that office was so intimate, it was so small that you could just step outside of where you're at, sit down with them and talk.
Right.
And talk through theory and situations and phone calls and that one-on-one that maybe new recruiters didn't always get, but you could do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's more my style anyway.
Absolutely.
I love to sit down and talk through situations and what ifs, and maybe you should have, and did you think about this? So that kind of played to my advantage a little bit. But to be quite honest with you, Elise, we had Jenna, Ferragrino, and then Elise Woods. Well, Elise had a friend, which turned out to be Emily. So Emily comes along, and what she did, Emily's so funny, she stalks me. And we're still in the middle of the pandemic, so we weren't really hiring at that time. Right. But she stalks me, she stalks Ryan, she gets hold of Ryan sends it back over to me. I was like, yeah, I was already going to, she already, like, Emily was a monster with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you just knew, okay, you're going to be a good recruiter just based on that.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and not to mention that she, all the other qualities that goes as far as being a recruiter. But then Emily and Elise then refers Trevor. Right? Emily then refers Lily and refers Mary Catherine. So now we got this little pipeline coming out of Stephen F. Austin.
Yeah.
And actually Mary went to North Texas. But we had this pipeline coming from Elise Woods that kind of provided like 6 or 7 recruiters.
That built that foundation for it.
That has continued to build this foundation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how it all worked out, but it was almost like we started off as a family to begin with, which is the essence of what Atlas is, where we started.
That's where we started. That's
Right.
where you and I started. That's where, right. Exactly.
Right.
So we took the cameras on the floor and we talked to Jenna and Elise kind of about the beginnings and how it started. And this is what they had to say.
So So I started the week COVID was declared a pandemic, March 9th, 2020. And that was whenever we still went to Omaha for training.
Yep.
You did that too?
Yep.
And so we had our first Dallas office, and it was super small. It was like a closet.
Yeah.
There was 3 of us. It was me, Jenna, and one other recruiter, and then Kurt. And whenever I came in, I only came in one day before we were sent home. I didn't even met you yet.
Yeah.
And then we started working from home. I think it was honestly like a few weeks of working here before I even met you on Zoom.
Yep.
Because Zoom wasn't really even a thing, or Teams, so we were kind of just like,
yeah.
What do we even do?
Yeah. I definitely remember that. I started maybe 2 weeks before you did, and I was actually there for 1 whole week, and that other recruiter was there a couple times, but it was really just me and Kurt, and there were maybe 6 different desks. It was so small.
Yeah,
it was like the
really
only
small.
computer set up, and I know we were getting set up for you to come too, and I was like, oh yay, someone else. So I was there for a week, and then I had already had planned a vacation to go somewhere else for a week. So I went there, and when I got back is when I saw that COVID was even a thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was just traveling and there's COVID, and
Scary.
And then Kurt told me, like, don't come back into the office. So now I have my laptop, and I'm just sitting here working from home, which is something that I've never done before, and it was just
Same here.
it's fun. I really enjoy it now, but at first I think it was a little hard to get used to because you're creating kind of your own schedule and you're disciplining yourself, which can be a little difficult if you've never had to, do it before. But
For sure.
now I definitely have a good routine down and how I run things, and
Yeah,
I
me too.
enjoy it a lot.
It was the same for me though, like going from, having a space where we were going to be there 9 to 5 for sure, like Monday through Friday, to like you said, just figuring out your schedule was hard because it was weird to wake up and work and live in the same spot for like 2 years. But I think it's really great now because I think we all have the communication down. I think that was like the hardest part, is like figuring out Zoom, figuring out Teams, and then we were navigating like the whole job market, and it was crazy while working from home. So but,
I think the Zoom and the team meetings definitely helped us feel connected, and we had something to do and something to be a part of, so we didn't just feel like, here's your laptop, you had that week of orientation, like go off and do do your own thing. But I think always having a meeting, it was like almost every day, really, just
checking in on each other,
checking in, talking about things. And we started where we maybe saw rates before COVID for that week, and then rates were going crazy. So
which I feel like starting that week too kind of is helping us navigate the market now, just because we did see like what it was like before these crazy bill rates for COVID. So I feel like it it's kind of helping us be better recruiters now. But it was a crazy time.
It was.
And then the second office, whenever we moved there, it was like such an upgrade.
Yeah, it
It
was.
was so much bigger. But this one is definitely where we want to be at. It's really cool to be. It's like full circle.
Yes.
From like what their plan was to where we're at now.
Yeah, I can see the whole vision. Hopefully one day all these desks are just filled up, and I love the people that we've welcomed here. And
I think we have a great team, and the people are trying to keep the same culture that there was in Omaha, just that family kind of vibe, and I think we've done a good job of keeping it that way.
I agree.
Okay, so the next part of this is, and I talked to compliance about it. You have compliance specialists working here in the office too, who are fantastic, by the way. And it was that everything's bigger in Texas, and their hospitality to us has been just as big as I could possibly imagine, right? And I talked to them about this today. Flexibility in the office. We absolutely cannot ignore what happened in the pandemic and how that changed kind of office work in general. And we always had remote recruiters anyway. It was always part of our philosophy is to have those, because just recruiting from one area, just pulling in recruiters from one area. I love Omaha, I love Dallas, but there are good people in Indianapolis, and there are good people in the Carolinas, and there are good people in Florida, and there are good people in California that could also recruit for us. So embracing that philosophy is still important to us. So that's part of, talk about the flexibility here, because I know one of your compliance specialists has to commute an hour into Dallas.
Right.
Well, you commute 1 hour and then you go home 1 hour. That's 2 hours of wasted productivity.
Right.
Quite honestly, 2 hours out of their day that's wasted.
Right.
So talk about the flexibility here in the Dallas office.
Yeah, so that was important to me. Like coming off the pandemic, everybody's working from home. I know though, this job, this career the better way to go is to be around people, like people, right? You bump ideas, you bump philosophies, you bump experiences, right? So even though coming off the pandemic, and we totally were respectful of everything that we need to do, work from home, that whole movement and campaign, I still felt that it was important for us to be a team and grow together, but yet also recognizing and realizing that, just the work environment just has changed in general. Yeah. And you kind of have to be flexible in your ways of thinking and ideas in order to attract and maintain these talented people that you want, right? So what I wanted to do is make sure that the people that were coming to us were getting a fair shot of being trained and taught right of how to take care of the individuals that we take care of.
Right.
I thought the best way to do that was to have a flex schedule. So Monday through Wednesday, we come in the office. Again, if you got doctor's appointments and appointments in general that you have to take care of. That's
kids,
what you do.
vet, whatever.
So Monday through Wednesday, you come into the office. Thursday and Friday, it's up to you. Like, you can run that. You can work from home. We've had office work days in a coffee shop. Like, we would all go to wherever and hang out and just work from there. That flex schedule, to me, and the feedback that I've gotten, has absolutely been a crusher as far as a good blend, a good mix, a well-balanced opportunity for some people that I believe still want to come out and socialize, but yet still have that ability to work from home.
I made that observation here because the pandemic for me was crushing. Right. It hurt because I love people and noise and things and stuff and action and right. And when I get to work, I want to go. Right. And I want people around me just going. And that was hard. It was really, really hard for me. But then I realized, look, this isn't an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday job. It's not. It's not even an 8 to 5, 7 days a week job. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our travelers are like that. Our recruiters are like that. Our compliance specialists are like that. Our accounting staff is like that. Right. Quite honestly, our accounting staff works like Saturday through Wednesday. Those are their busiest days. Right. So it's not like that. And I think for so long our industry tried to jam that round peg in a square hole, and it just doesn't work. Butts and seats Monday through Friday doesn't mean anything. Right. It simply doesn't. What means something is if those people come together, if you bring them together, and they can collaborate, and then they go home and they do what they have to do, and then they come back together and they collaborate again and they work through those things. Right? That's always been your style. Right. Always. Right. And then go do what you got to do. Right. And then we'll come back here.
Right. To add on to that, so the compliance people, all Missy, Myra, and then Aaliyah, they all came from the same place. So I'm not sure how we came across Myra. But Myra reached in and got Missy, and Missy reached in and got Aaliyah. Now, the common thing to them, and you guys talk to them specifically yourself, is it's just the atmosphere and the environment that we provided, Atlas has provided, in which they can do their job, but yet feel like they're a part of the family, a part of the team, part of the crew. Something that they were missing before. But again, you talk about Missy having to drive an hour both ways. Yeah. Well, she does that on her own. That's the flexibility that we have. So she made her own days in the week that she wants to come in, which is fine. She's a worker, so she works whether she's in the office or out of the office. But because we tried to create that environment, and something I think was lacking from where she was coming from, she has found that she enjoys coming into the office. And that goes with Myra and Aaliyah as well. So I think it comes back down to what your philosophy, what Ryan's philosophy has always been. You make the environment in which you work enjoyable, pop shot, ping pong tables, barbecues, whatever. Yep. Yeah. People will come. Yep. They literally will come.
Good people will come. Good people come and stay. Absolutely. Right? I mean, they realize this is where they belong. Yeah, right? Absolutely. And it's what they've been looking for. So it doesn't work for everybody, but it once you find it, man, it's pretty fantastic.
Well, again, I think you talk to them and they come in basically on their own. On their own account. So.
Well, let's be honest. They're adults. Right? And we'll treat them like adults. That's it. the proof is in the production at the end, right? That's where it lands. Okay, final question then. Explain to where the Dallas office is for someone that's never been in Dallas before. Like, give me an idea of like where we're located, major highways, that type of thing.
So we are considered North Dallas.
Okay.
We are still considered part of Dallas. I'm sorry, Farmers Branch, if anybody's familiar with that.
Mhm.
And where that is off of 635, which runs north of Dallas, south of Addison. Okay?
Okay.
North of Dallas, south of Addison. It's on the crossroads of 635 freeway, 635 LBJ freeway,
Mm-hmm.
and the North Dallas Tollway. If you're familiar with the area, there's a Galleria Mall. We are literally the Galleria Mall is located on the east side of the tollway.
Mm-hmm.
We are located just on the south side, or excuse me, the west side.
That's the place you can see from the windows.
Yeah,
right? You
absolutely.
can see it out the windows.
One block you can walk,
Mhm.
go under the fairway, and
you're right there.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it's kind of easy access, easy in, easy out. Can't really miss it. I don't even think you can get lost trying to find it. Like if you know where the tollway is,
Sure.
and the mall.
Yeah.
If you know where the mall is, you can
can
get
find
to
it.
Right.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Oh. And best part, we're still hiring.
We are still hiring.
Right?
We have actually gotten all moved in again. Hence, that's why you guys are here
Right.
to showcase. We're here, gotten all moved in, ample amount of room. We're trying to put on this full court press with bringing more people into the Dallas office. Within the office, we'll take remote too. But you know, if there's ever anybody that would love to be part of a family-oriented company, this is it. This is where you need to be.
Yeah.
This is where you belong.
It feels so. It feels like early us,
Yes.
you know, in so many ways. And part of it, and that's a testament to you and the people that you have here. It's young, it's energetic, it's vibrant, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
It's a lot of
I
fun.
told you, I was just trying to emulate how we started.
Yeah.
With being educated, and we don't have to go through some of those pitfalls
Mhm.
that we had to get where we are, right?
Yeah.
Learn from the past and be better going forward.
There we go. All right. Well, okay. So if you're in the Dallas area and you're looking, like if you have a recruiting experience, if you don't have recruiting experience, that's okay. Come down, talk to Kurt. The office is open. Come down and talk to him. We'll see what happens. I want Dallas to be the rule, not the exception. For so long, it was like, and Dallas. Now I want Dallas
Yes, sir.
first, for sure.
Right. Yes,
So,
sir.
and we can do that.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, man. Gosh, it's been fun. All right. We'll see you next week.